Can you start off by introducing yourself to our site visitors at popculturemadness.com?
Hello, Pop Culture Madness. My name is William Control.
Great, thank you. We are here at the Church of the Wild Ones tour in Philadelphia. How are you enjoying it so far?
I am enjoying it immensely. In fact, it's been one of the best tours I've ever done.
That's awesome. The last time I caught you here was with Birthday Massacre, like a few months, probably towards the end of last year, I think. How was that tour?
That was great too. It was a little bit of an older audience. They didn't dance and scream as loud, but it was good. It was really good.
That's awesome.
Lots of capes on that tour.
Really?
Yep.
Toys too? Like stuffed animals, all that stuff. I saw like weird things flying at the stage.
There was weird stuff on that tour.
I can only imagine. So I know that, you did a lot of work with the new Black Veil Brides album also. Like you did the Fear transmissions with that, and you were also involved in the film. Do you think we'll see a sequel from that? Any reprise of that role?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what kind of record they write next.
Mm-hmm.
It's a concept album about a church called Fear that is taking over the world and is very Orwellian, 1984.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I don't know if the Wild Ones will reprise their own role, but it's their art. So if they do, I'm down for it.
So, for you personally, between balancing your time with this project currently and Aiden and producing, is it hard for you to switch hats ever?
No, not really. I mean, it's just like having a job, really,
Mm-hmm.
working. And I gotta go from one project to another. I gotta kind of stay busy or I get bored really fast.
So what are you currently working? The last album came out in April of last year, right? So is there anything you're currently working on right now?
Yeah, I'm doing, let's see, what am I doing? After this tour, I'm doing some pre-production with a band called the Fearless Vampire Killers. I'm going to record their album. And then we're going to start working on a new William Control series of EPs and record.
Nice. So what's the theme you're headed towards with that?
You know what? It's still kind of being ironed out right now. We just started discussing it, so who knows?
So for you personally, you've played a lot of larger festival type environments and then playing smaller club shows. Do you have a preference between the two?
No, not particularly. I think I'd actually prefer a dark club to a brightly lit day festival any day, really.
I mean, I hear also it's easier to feed off the vibe of the crowd in the smaller environment too. Like everybody's right up in your face and they're getting into it and you can see it and feel the energy like feeding off of each other.
Yeah, it's a much better vibe in a club environment. But festivals are cool because you get to play shows with Black Sabbath and shit like that.
So what's been one of the most memorable shows that you've played?
Probably Download Festival this year.
Oh,
We played
wow.
Download in the summertime.
Oh, you headlined one of the stages, right?
And yeah, I mean, we got off stage, Black Sabbath was fucking playing War Pigs,
Wow.
which was awesome.
What a moment. But yeah, I was reading up. I heard you guys had a pretty good turnout for that too, considering like the time slot was about the same.
Considering Rise Against was also on at the same time, it was more than I expected. So it was good. It was a good time.
That's the problem with those festivals. Sometimes everything overlaps. It's like everybody's running from stage to stage.
Yeah.
So, if you could create your dream festival, who would it include?
It would only include Morrissey, New Order, and William Control.
Nice.
That's it. Easy. Lots of people would come. It would be fun.
Absolutely. Where would you have it?
South Africa.
Okay.
I'm just joking. I have no idea where I would have it. Maybe, where would you have that festival?
Seattle.
Seattle.
Okay.
So I didn't have to go anywhere.
So, you've played the European festivals, and I'm sure you've been involved with the American festivals as well. Do you think that the American festivals are starting to catch up?
No, absolutely
No.
not. Not even close. Europe has this a culture in that environment, you know, with football and with rock concerts and music festivals that they've been doing for, you know, decades. I mean, there are a couple of festivals here in America that are pretty cool, you know, like Coachella, that's a pretty big one. But I think as a whole, Europe and the UK, that's sort of more their culture. Whereas because America is so spread out, you know, we're so distant from each other, it doesn't really work.
It seems like there's sometimes an appreciation thing overseas, more so I feel, than over here. I mean, it's growing. I'm happy it's growing over here, but I agree with you on that.
I mean, you gotta figure that the UK is the size of Michigan. So all the people that live there that listen to that certain kind of music can go to the festival. Whereas if you have that same festival in Nebraska, you know, it's not going to be that big because
exactly.
You know, people aren't going to be able to come from New York and LA and Texas and Florida, Seattle, all the way to Nebraska.
Very true. So personally, I look at music as a universal language we can all speak and understand, even if we take a different message away. Is there anything in particular you hope your music will say to listeners?
No, not particularly. I think I've passed that point of trying to bring about solidarity and togetherness with music and art. I'm very selfish. I just write music because I'm a fucking psycho, and if I don't, I'll kill people.
It's therapeutic. I'm sure it's therapeutic for you as much as it is for the listener sometimes.
It's just a bonus that people are into it.
Have you ever had anybody take anything really crazy away from it?
No, not really crazy. I mean, people get into the storyline, and I have nothing that's over the top.
So, I mean, how do you feel about the uprise of social media and the way that we, you know, are able to promote and share music? I mean, we've seen this just ever growing throughout the years.
You know, I suppose it's sort of a double-edged sword. You know? Like when I started playing in a band, when Aiden started, there was no MySpace. We started our MySpace when MySpace was 100,000 people on it, and the rise of social media has been good and bad in the way that it allows people to view and hear your music and connect with it without a label pushing it, but they really have to sort it out. They have to suss it out themselves. So with the rise of social media and all, you know, the influx of bands who can make records cheaply, really is kind of, it's like the stock market. When the stock market is flooded, all the stocks go down. So it's good and it's bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think before it's like there was kind of this shroud of mystery that was around rock and roll, you know, and now everything is so approachable and everything's in everyone's face that veil has gotten lifted somewhat.
Yep.
So nobody seems to have too much privacy anymore, but at the same time I think the fans appreciate the interaction also.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, really. I mean, on one hand, you have this art, and you have this type of person that you personify, and kids feel as if they know you because that's what you give them. But really, I'm not that whole person. I mean, I'm a totally different person, and for me, my privacy is sacred, and I don't want to share a lot of things about my personal life with everybody, you know, because I don't know you. I make art, you know, for the reason that I explained, and I'm grateful for every fan that listens to it, but it's sort of a fine line that you have to walk, you know, because you want to be grateful, and I definitely am grateful for the people who allow me to make art, but I also want to have privacy. So
I know, I can definitely understand that. So do you remember the first album you purchased that left a lasting impression on you?
Nevermind by Nirvana.
What was it about the album that left an impression on you?
Well, I mean, at that time when I was growing up, I mean, the only thing that was on TV was dudes in spandex and big hair, you know, like Poison and Rat and that and Whitney Houston and shit. And that was music that I couldn't connect with, but you here came this guy in ripped up jeans and flannel shirt, and it looked like he didn't have any money, and could barely play his guitar. And that was just something that I found myself connecting with, along with, you know, a lot of other people in the world.
So do you have a pivotal music moment that occurred in your life that, you know, made you decide you wanted to pursue this, you know, art as a profession?
Seeing that Smells Like Teen Spirit video on MTV.
Okay.
My brother used to watch MTV when I was a kid. He loved Duran Duran. He loved that 80s shit. And that, he was 12 years older than me, so he always had the TV on. He always had MTV on. Because it was the 80s and it was huge back then. And when that video started getting played, that was when I started noticing the music.
But yeah, I mean, we're starting to see a comeback of some of that 80s sound.
Yeah.
And unfortunately dubstep. But it's like electronic and 80s, but I think we're always cycling, so.
Yeah.
So where would you like to see yourself, you know, for the rest of this year and to next year? What are plans?
I'm going to finish up this tour in March. I mean, this tour is pretty long. It goes till March 11th.
Okay.
Or maybe March 9th. One of the two. And then I have a month off, and then we go to the UK and do some shows in April. And then I'm going to make a couple of records, and then I'll probably do a headline tour in the fall.
Awesome. Well, we'll certainly look forward to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me.
Thanks for doing it.
No problem. As a final question, we're a pop culture website, so we're engrossed in all things pop culture. Is there anything currently you can't get enough of?
I'll tell you what, I'll be brutally honest with you. I am not really a fan of pop culture, and I've never been a fan of pop culture, honestly. Except the time when I was a kid and Nirvana was pop culture. But I don't know what it is about me that wants to go against the grain and wants to go against what everyone else is doing. And authority. You know, I've always had a real problem with authority, so I couldn't tell you. I don't like Twilight.
Well, you know, vampires aren't supposed to sparkle, so I'm just gonna say that.
I don't like Justin Bieber. I mean, you know, he's a talented kid, but I'm not a fucking 12-year-old girl. I'm a 31-year-old man. I like books. I read Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay. You gotta check out that new show, The Following, on Fox.
The what?
The Following.
The Following?
On Fox. Very, very Poe-esque is a huge theme of the whole thing.
Alright.
So, highly recommend it. Well, thank you again for speaking with me. I appreciate it.
Yep,
And,
thanks
you
for
know,
having me.
Enjoy the tour.